But can you all share in the chat box, uh, what is it that you're kind of procrastinating? Let just kind of self-reflect over the last 1 month. What is it that you're constantly procrastinating, that you're not able to get to, you're not able to focus on and get that done? I have one for me. Can I share what I have been procrastinating on? I've been procrastinating on getting my wardrobe kind of sorted. It's a little messy, and I've been procrastinating. And I realized when I was thinking through this, I was journaling about it. That's when this framework that I'm going to be sharing with all of you came into fruition. Okay. What do you think it is when we say procrastination? What's your definition of that, of procrastinating? Please share, please reflect on it, become aware, because the more we all improve our awareness, the higher the chance of getting past that specific challenge. Okay. On that note, step one. Of course, this I'm pretty sure if you're here inside this community, you would have probably guessed step one, which always gets comes back to the first thing of building clarity. Okay. So please think about that one thing that you've been procrastinating. Okay. And let's work through this. Just don't just be a kind of a silent listener. Work through this. Just keep journaling and keep sharing through the chat box. Okay. First thing is about building clarity. So what do I mean by this here? So let's say you're procrastinating on something. Okay. It can be anything, any activity that you wanted to do, but it's not happening. Build the clarity. Okay. Kind of think through this and ask yourself, am I procrastinating because of the effort required to pull it off? Do you feel like it's a huge mountain that you need to move and therefore let it go? I mean, like, come on, who's going to put in so much of effort? It's anyway going to be too much to take on. Why bother? Or do you feel like, okay, am I procrastinating because I don't have interest in doing it? A lot of times we take on things, but it doesn't match with our value system. It doesn't match with our interest. We feel bored and we tend to not do it. What is it for you? So put that bold thing, write that bold title on your journal, and what's that one thing you're procrastinating on, and then journal through this, and then just keep self-reflecting through this. Okay, so the first thing, if at all you're procrastinating because of the effort, what do you think you should be doing? You know, it's a huge task. It's a mountain that you have to move. That's how that's how I felt when I looked at my wardrobe. It felt like a mountain that had to literally move. So what's the first step? Okay, it can overwhelm us. It can overwhelm us when we look at such a huge task, but we don't have to get overwhelmed. We can always learn to break down huge tasks into smaller, manageable items. So think through this. Like, what is it that you've been procrastinating on? For example, you bought a course, you never looked into it because there were 173 videos that you had to go through. And it felt like such a huge thing. Why even start? I can't finish it anyway. But if you think, okay, so 173 videos, that's okay. One video, okay, one video, let's say it's 20-minute video. Can I do 5 minutes starting off? Piece it down, smaller tasks. Okay, that's one thing. That's one of the things that can be a reason. If the procrastination is happening because who cares? I anyway, it doesn't interest me anyway. Why even bother? If that's the case, what do you think you should be doing? For example, um, I literally had to get my kitchen and my washroom and all cleaned up, and I never found the interest in it. Although it's very necessary, right? It's very important that we keep things in the right way. So what you can do? One of the three things. If it never interests you, but and it's not kind of important, just delete it or delay it. If you know like something you have to do, but it's not so important at the moment, delay it or delete it. But if that's something that doesn't interest you, but anyway, you have to get it done. In my case, I had to get my kitchen cleaned up. What do you do? See if you can get it delegated, right? Like Urban Clap or this kind of services that you have. See if you can get in touch with them. Just delegate it and get things done. Okay, if that's making sense, please type MS in the chat box. Step one, building clarity. Okay, so a lot of times if you're procrastinating, if this is the step, it's about the interest that you may not be having. Either delegate it, get it done, delete it, delay it, and that's it. The task is done. Procrastination cleared. But let's look at this. Okay, let's say now you looked at the first step where it was too much of an effort, but now you're kind of slicing and dicing it. When I looked at my wardrobe, it had like 10 sections that I had to work on, literally looked like a mountain. So what did I do? Okay, I don't have to work on all the 10 sections all at once. Let me pick one of those sections, 1 out of 10. Okay, working and building that clarity as the first step. If you're following this, just type yes. So that's the first thing that I did. So whatever you are procrastinating on, see if you want to kind of piece it up into a smaller thing. Okay, that's step one. What do we do after this? So we kind of broken things down into smaller steps, smaller action items. And then what do we do? Time block. How many of you, in spite of breaking things down, you still do not get things done? You still procrastinate in spite of having the clarity. Give me a smiley in the chat box. You have the clarity. Okay, you want to get it done. This is important. You've broken it down into smaller things, but still things are getting procrastinated. How many of you are dealing with that? Then you have to get to step two. What do we do here? Time block. That means, do I exactly know when I have to work on this thing? When, like, what's that block of time where I have to actually shut everything down and just focus and get this one thing done? And if you're kind of dealing with too much of procrastination, the advice from my end is just do this. Again, you broke down things into smaller chunks, and the goal is not to finish even that smaller chunk. The goal is spend 15 minutes working on it. That's it. If you think 15 minutes is too much, okay, 10 minutes. If you think 10 minutes is too much, okay, 5 minutes. If you think even that's too much, spend 2 minutes. Just spend 2 minutes working on that small task that you have already broken down. Okay, but the thing is, you need to know what 5 minutes is that on your calendar. Is it like morning 10:15 to 10:30, 12 to 12:15? What is that 15 minutes that you're going to focus on? This is going to be your focus time. Okay. Now my next question is, how many of you know the small activities that you need to work on? You know, okay, I can probably work on this during the second half of this weekend, but still you procrastinate. Give me a smiley in the chat box. You have built the clarity. You kind of at least in your mind, if not on your calendar, at least in your mind, when I have to work on it, but you still did not get that done. Can I tell you why? Probably it's because the third step is missing. The third step being energy check-in. How many of you felt that I anyway don't feel like even waking up, getting out of my bed? Why care about doing this? I know it's important. Let it anyway lie there. I'm not going to be worried about that. So when I returned back from my one of my recent breaks, I saw my wardrobe like a huge elephant. I kind of pieced it down. I saw 10 sections. Okay, like one section is all I had to work on. I thought I'll work on it during one of those weekends, like 15 minutes. Still did not get it done. You know why? I did not feel like I wanted to do it. My energy was not in place. So whatever you are kind of procrastinating on, check in on your energy and ask yourself this question. Are you feeling energized, or do you feel burnt out right now? Because however easy or small or difficult the task might be, if the energy is off, we don't tend to do that, right? How many of you know what I'm saying? So do an energy check-in. In fact, do a check-in right now on your energy and let me know, how is your energy right now? Is it a high or a medium or a low? So it's no, there's no point beating yourself up for not doing things without building these awareness, right? Like, you need to know where your energy is at the moment. So what do you do next? Simple, right? Work on your energy habits before taking on the task. It's not about now taking on the task. Now you have to get back to a better state of your energy. Okay, because however small or silly the task might be, if you feel burnt out, if you feel drained, forget the task. You're never going to even attempt doing that. Okay, if this makes sense, please type MS in the chat box. Please type MS. Now let's reflect on this thing again. Okay, let's say you build the clarity, you know what tasks to work on, you know when to work on, you feel the energy, but still, how many of you kind of procrastinate things in spite of that? Give me a smiley in the chat box. Because I was doing all of this until I recognized and realized, oh, this is what was going on. Okay, so please give me a smile in the chat box. So you build the clarity. Okay, what tasks to do, when to do. Okay, my energy is in place right now, but still I'm procrastinating. Why? Distractions. How many of you know that we are in the most distracted era ever that humans have kind of ever lived in? Just type I know in the chat box. Just type I know in the chat box. So we are like, bombarded with informations like in gigabits and going to terabits per seconds and all of that. And especially with the advancement of AI and tools and hardware, like, you see the kind of chipsets and hardware that Apple and other, uh, manufacturing companies are all coming up with, the power that it has. uh, no wonder, like, we are bombarded with so much of data and information. So if that's something that you're dealing with, just type yes in the chat box, because this is a big deal that we all go through distractions. So even if the energy is in place, if you cannot manage your distractions, set boundaries with people related distractions. Set digital boundaries. It can be your digital gadgets and other things. Set boundaries with yourself. How many of you have had a thought that kind of distracted you out of doing the task at hand? Give me a smiley in the chat box. So you have to learn how to avoid distractions. You need to set the boundaries with people. Okay, how do you do that? Of course, with people, it's about communicate on your availability, and just don't be available before you get that thing done. Don't be available before you get and complete and accomplish the task. That's the first thing that we all have to learn. And I'm not saying do it without respect. Do it respectfully with people, but you have to teach them. One of the important aspects of being a good communicator is not just about speaking. It's not just about writing. It's about helping other people understand what is, what boundaries are important to you. If that makes sense, please type MS in the chat box. You need to help people understand what are your boundaries. What are the boundaries they cannot kind of infringe on without your permission. It doesn't matter who it is, by the way. Okay. So the first thing we all have to learn. Second thing is on the digital boundaries. Uh, like, if it's an important work, see if you can not have your devices or mobile phones, if you're not working with that, of course, uh, be if that's not around you. Okay, can I give you a simple hack, a hack that works always for me? Can I give you that? Just type yes in the chat box. A hack which helps me not pick up my phone. Okay, is, even if it's right next to me, is I use a simple cloth like this, and I just cover my phone, even if it's next to me. Now I don't have it here, but even if it's next to me, I just cover that device. So even in my peripheral vision, even when I'm looking around, even if my kind of when my brain recognizes that there is a device, we are naturally habituated to pick that up and get distracted. So give it a shot, see how it works for you. Okay, just type hack if you like that. Just give it a shot. Okay, that works for me 100% of the time. I don't know how, but it just works for me. Okay, so avoid the digital distractions. See how do you minimize that. Set boundaries with yourself. For how many of you this is a bulb on moment for you? How do you do that? How do you set boundaries with yourself? How do you not allow your own thoughts to and not get out of what's at hand, not get distracted through your own thoughts. You have to know your why, you have to know your goals, you have to know why this task is important to you. You need to have that clarity in your mind, saying who do I have to be in this situation? Okay, I'm trying to do this task. Who do I have to be? What should be my attributes? Should I be like distracted and just looking here and there, or should I bring my focus back and get things done? That's always a decision that we all can make. That's always an intentionality that we all can bring in into any situation. If that makes sense, please type MS in the chat box. Okay, please type MS. That's the thing. So avoid distractions. Can I give you the next step? Just type yes. So now let's say you build the clarity, you time blocked, you know when to work on it, your energy is in place, you avoided distractions. But still, how many of you still tend to procrastinate things? Give me a smiley if you know what I'm saying, because I've done this. I've looked at all of this, but I just kept procrastinating working on cleaning my wardrobe. Can I tell you why? I mean, this is my personal experience. I hope you're able to relate to this. Okay, so I did all of this, but the next thing that was missing was I never tried to gamify it. It was just a boring task. It was just like, okay, one more thing I just have to do. So, how many of you are ready to gamify even those boring tasks that you're trying to accomplish and complete? Just type game on in the chat box. So please gamify things, and I'll tell you how I gamified it. Okay. So the question you have to ask yourself is, how will you reward yourself for acting on this task that you are procrastinating before? Because it's a big deal. You have to learn to be your biggest cheerleader. How many of you are going to do that? We all have to learn to be our biggest cheerleader. We have to be grateful to ourselves for doing the work, and also kind of be compassionate, and also more than anything I would suggest gamify and reward yourself for doing the work. Okay, so set reward points for completing 15 minutes of activity without distraction. As I said, the goal is not to complete the task, the goal is to be there present, work on the task for 15 minutes distraction free. That's the goal. Gift yourself something you love. So what I did is 10 sections of wardrobe. Okay, that's what I had to clean up. 10 sections of wardrobe. One section I just had to work on it for 15 minutes. So the reward I set for myself, one section cleanup equals 200 rupees. Reward for me. Just type a good one in the chat box. So one section, if I clean up, it's like I get to enjoy 200 rupees and reward myself. Okay. And so 10 sections, 2000 rupees. And the reward that I set for myself is, okay, since I'm clearing out the wardrobe, I'll go and buy some nice shirt or some, a shirt and a trouser or something, with the reward amount. That's how I gamified the whole thing. So whatever you're kind of procrastinating on, What is the reward? How do you want to gamify the whole experience? If this is making sense, please type MS in the chat box. So the next question is, how many of you had the clarity? You had the time, you knew the time that you had to work on it. Your energy was in place. You avoided distractions. You gamified, but still did not get things done. Give me a smiley in the chat box. All of this were in place. I know the reward that I'm going to get, but still I did not complete the task. Can I give you the sixth step? The final frontier. Yeah, just type BIO in the chat box, because the final frontier that we all have to strategically build is this: social accountability. Please type SA in the chat box. What does it mean? It means like, what can you, like who can you do this activity with, so that they can also hold you accountable and you can hold them accountable. Yeah, just type bulb on if your bulb went on. For example, the other instance was, uh, like I like to play tennis, okay, but I've been procrastinating for ages. Like I just not been doing it. Then my coach, when I got coached, he said, why don't you have someone in a group, in your circle, who also plays tennis like with you, um, like you plan an activity, let's say over the weekend, like once or twice in a week, and see how that goes. So I called up my friend. He said, okay, I'm ready to do this. And you know what? I had to show up because I had committed to this person socially. So the study says that we tend to act on things a lot more when we have that social commitment and accountability. So who are you going to pick as your partner towards working on that one thing that you have been procrastinating? That's for you to decide. Find your accountability partner, commit to goals socially. Okay. So if this was cool, please type I beat in the chat box, because I'm pretty sure if you're going to start on even step one and then work through all the steps like build clarity, time block, energy check in, avoid distractions, gamify, and set your social accountability, I'm pretty sure this habit is going to help you beat the procrastination forever. Like anytime you're going to have this kind of a challenge, you will be able to get back to this framework, put it into play. If you can resolve it with step one, great. If you can not, go and implement step two, then step three, step four, step five, step six. Now, six steps might be too much for you. Therefore, you may procrastinate beating procrastination. So that's why start small. Start with the one small thing, and then keep improving and take your game to the next level. If this makes sense, please type MS in the chat box. So I thought I was dealing with it. I was kind of reflecting on it, and was trying to come up with a framework first of all for myself, to deal with the big mountain in my room, and then I had to deal with it by implementing this framework. Okay, so just want to know how many of you are going to implement it and rock and roll through this. Just type will do in the chat box. Will do in the chat box. So treat this as a habit that you're building, a habit towards beating procrastination in different areas of your life. Okay, so if you got it, just type got it in the chat box.